Hi Stamping friends. This is the September 2014 Online Stamp Club. I wanted to share with you a few things before we get started making this cute card. I don't think the camera does the colors justice on this card. It is absolutely stunning with the Blackberry Bliss and the Hello Honey and the Tangelo Twist and the Mossy Meadow, the new in colors with Stampin' Up! So before I get started showing you this card, I want to show you a few things of what you'll be getting in this month's club. First of all, you're going to get 4 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, and you will get, ready for this? These stamping diagrams. I really love doing these because I really think it helps you make your cards like that. All right, so this is the stamp set that we're using this month. Amazing Birthday. It is really a fun birthday set that you can use for kids, for women, for men. It's just very versatile, so really love that. The other thing that you're using this month is the polka dotted Big Shot folder, and really fun. I'm going to show you some fun ways to add those polka dots to your cards. I wanted to point out this is another thing that we're going to be using for a belly band on our little card holder, and it is the paper stack from the 2014-2016 In Color Designer Series papers, and I wanted to show you what I do. Whenever I pull out a piece, I cut up my pieces, put them back in, and that way it keeps them nice and tidy for me, so that way I can find everything and use up those bits of pieces. Okay, so I wanted to share all that with you. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use the Simply Scored by Stampin' Up! I am scoring the Smoky Slate card base, and I'm scoring it at 4 1/4. I love using the Simply Scored for several reasons. Number one, keeps my little stylus right there. But number two, I get such crisp folds when I use this. So I really prefer using that. And as you know, the card base doesn't really want to lay down, so I do use my bone folder to give it a nice good crease. I want to show you how, trying to get my Big Shot over here in front of the camera, how I like to do my embossing. So I just labeled 2 of my cutting plates and said just for embossing folders only. I like to keep them without any cuts in there, or gently loved or well loved, if you would, cutting plates. So the first piece I'm using is the Blackberry Bliss, and when I put it in the folder, I played with it a couple of times or a couple different ways, and I really liked centering it so that I got polka dots on both sides. You can't tell as much with this piece of cardstock as you will on the other pieces because they're smaller, but you'll understand what I mean. So you want to line it up to where you make sure that your edges are getting caught in the folder. And I'm going to slide that over just a little bit. There you go. So now I've got my polka dots all nice and lined up. I'm going to go ahead and give this my sandwich, if you would, and crank this through. Okay, set that aside. And now I have fun little polka dots. Oh, I don't think you can, there you go. I think you can see it now. So fun, such a neat embossing folder that we have. Whenever I am attaching embossed pieces of cardstock, I like to use the multi-purpose glue. And the reason that I like to do that is because my adhesive gets down in those embossed areas, a little bit like that. I'm not using very much, and if you'll notice, I don't go all the way to the edge because the glue squishes out. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay that layer on there. There we go. All right, so the next piece I want to do is the top layer. And since I've already done all my stamping, I'm going to take and use, and I'm just using snips. I decided that the snips were just the easiest thing to use when I was cutting these out. You're going to be using the snips for a lot of it anyway. And then this way you can just get more snip practice in, if you would. It's just easier because I didn't use a Stamp-A-Majig to stamp my images. And so I found when I tried to lay this on a paper trimmer, I was crooked. So I just decided that I was able to do it better just like this. So the next piece I need to do is I need to actually cut one of these pieces up to give it the layers here. And as I point out in your handout, if you'll be careful when you're cutting, you can save the other little pieces for something else. Now, speaking of cutting, I want to point out that I figured out if I tip my snips, can you see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of at an angle, and then that way I see exactly where I'm cutting, because I found that if I went straight in, sometimes I missed part of the image. So I'm just cutting it at an angle like that. There you go. Okay, so there you see that. And then the other thing I need is amazing. And amazing is where I found my cutting trick, because I don't know if you can tell, there's a little white line there. Anyway, you just want to make sure you get the whole image, because you're going to be layering this on the other stamped piece, and you want to make sure that you get it the same size. And what I mean by that is if you trim it too short and you go to lay it on the Blackberry Bliss, you'll be able to see the Blackberry Bliss peeking out. Just saying. So, hope that trick helps you when you're cutting. And I am not a cutter, especially since we have punches and we have framelits and all the tools that Stampin' Up! Carries. I really prefer using those, but I got pretty good at using these snips, so I've decided they are my new friend. I will relish my new friendship. All right, so now I want to do is I want to use dimensionals, and I'm going to pop these on the back of my little pieces. On that one, and on make, we're gonna make today ridiculously amazing with this card. Oops, we just need one. Okay, so there's that. And I'm gonna go ahead and attach my card to this. You know me, I always say there's two sides to every piece of cardstock, and I use that all the time. I don't want you to think I, do as I say, not as I do kind of person, because I use both sides of paper. All right, so I'm gonna, and again, I used the Tombow glue because it gets down in those grooves and I don't lose my layer. It won't pop off. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the backing off, and I always dig in and get that backing off, and then I'm going to just layer this right on top like that. So do you see what I mean by you can't see my Blackberry Bliss amazing little banner underneath? Because I cut that piece just right using my little trick that I shared with you. All right, get the backing off of these and these. Okay, so we're gonna make, all right, there we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the 1 1/4 inch punch, and we're going to punch out our pieces. There's one. And we need this one over here. There we go. All right, again, using dimensionals. Pop those on there. This is really a fast assembly type card when you do all your stamping first and just assemble like I'm doing right now. All right, so then we have this piece here. All right, last thing we need is our piece of beautiful in color ribbon. I'm going to tie this on here. And I like to just really get it in the fold of my card and then just tie it like that. And you may need it trimmed just a little bit, and I like to use the scissors with Stampin' Up. They're not called ribbon scissors, as I mentioned before, but I prefer to use them. It's these for ribbon, and I have them labeled for ribbon so that if anybody comes over and uses mine, they know the rules. These are for ribbon. Okay, there is your first card for the September online card class. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back for card number 2.